Thanks to the support as a channel member, Dan Miles. Here we go then, brand new season, kind of new look team. Certainly did more transfers yesterday than I was planning on going in. We got rid of some of the deadwood. Might be a bit harsh. We got some nice homegrown players in. Now let's go and make it 3 times in a row in the Premier League. Hello, welcome to Club 4, Part 45 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our first 2 games of the new Premier League season. We are at home against Leeds, away against Tottenham. And if you missed the transfer window yesterday, you missed to spend over £200 million and lose established players Gilberto Carlos, Griffin Diaz, and Matias Zamorano, all leaving the club for a total of £76 million. Because we weren't going to be able to register them in our squad, as some of our younger players went over the age of 21 or whatever it is that means you have to start registering. It didn't work, so we had to bring in every single one of these, apart from Tonali. Every single one of these, apart from Tonali, is homegrown. We actually have far more homegrown players at the club than we probably ever have before, I want to say. Where's homegrown status? Look at all these homegrown players. Loads of them. I don't know why I've clicked international there. I don't think I've ever clicked on that tab before. What does that do? Wow. It collates all the match reports and shows me what they've been doing in their last internet. Well, love discovering a new button. What I was trying to do is put my custom view back on. There we go. So, Leeds. This is our team. Hoy and Hal in goal. Back four of Mura. New boy Dinamarco, who came in from Brentford, was playing for Brentford in the Championship last year, does have 2 seasons in the Premier League under his belt, though, previously. So, fingers crossed, should be perfectly adequate addition to our defence. He partners Fernandes and then Paviot at right back. Couple of injuries in the defence is why Dinamarco's playing already. He's not going to be a regular starter, I don't think. But Kaio Caesar's broken his leg and Aaron is injured for the first couple of weeks as well. So, Mura's had to go to left back, and Caesar, who would have come in, isn't available either. Diego Knoll, definitely our last option for centre-backs now. Sandro Tonali making his league debut in defensive midfield, with Bindi making his league debut ahead of him, and then Tipple behind Shepherd, who's now signed permanently for Manchester City, and he's in behind Pedro Luis and Delgado up front. Delgado, who is now considered the best player in the Premier League. They said it, not me. I agree. I've been saying it since he arrived that he's the best player in the Premier League, but we now have official confirmation that the media Dream 11 and all that stuff on that page now considers him the best player in the Premier League. Tonali crosses it in looking for Dinamarco. I think he's been fouled there. I think 2 of our new boys have just combined to lead to a penalty. The referee's got his finger in his ear to check, and I think it's about to be awarded. It is penalty awarded. Penalties always get awarded for that kind of thing. Fouls in the penalty area. Excellent analysis. Delgado from the spot. There's his first goal of the season. Start as you mean to go on. He scored effectively a goal a game last year. He's going to do it again this year, and we're going to win everything. Premier League, Champions League. We'll even win the EFL. We're not going to win the EFL Cup, but we might get our under-23s to win the Johnson's Paint Trophy or the Papa John's Plate, or whatever it's called these days, even though we don't really have any under-23s because we have no youth setup of any note. We looked at the development centre in the transfer window yesterday. There is nothing. So we're probably not going to win that. Cross comes in, Shepherd is there, and his header goes over. I think the fact that we're already having to start Shepherd on the first day of the season does justify all the money that we spent on him. I was a little wary of spending all that money on a plane. It kind of set a precedent for the rest of the summer then, really overpaying for homegrown players. It kind of sends a message to past Kev that perhaps we should have been a little bit more forward thinking with some of the transfers over the year. The likes of Romero and Padron are now homegrown at club, but they are few and far between and not really ready for the first team either. So we probably need to go back in time 3 years and bring in 7 or 8 18-year-olds who are going to be great. I mean, that's easy, isn't it? I don't know why I'm describing it as if it might be challenging. Just go do that, and then we'd be sorted now. I got too complacent doing homegrown last year, and that kind of happened automatically. I didn't have to think about this kind of stuff. But Shepherd is there with his first goal as a permanent Norwich player. I love the fact that in amongst all these global superstars and players I've found myself, like Pedro Luis and Delgado, we have still got a healthy little smattering of players like him who've been at a top club and haven't made it and have ended up here and got a bit of a career rejuvenation. I mean, Tipple obviously wasn't at a top club. He came in from Tottenham, but he's a similar situation where he never really made it at Tottenham, but has been an absolutely superstar here since he took the step up and joined Norwich. Who else have we got? I mean, Zamorano was an example of that, but he's moved on, which is a bit sad. I think they're the only two in this starting 11 today who failed somewhere else and then come here. Pedro Luis is in. It's some nice Route 1 football, and it ultimately leads to a shot from Pedro Luis that he should have done better with. It's ended up going high over the crossbar, remains 2-0 as we hit half-time. Let's give everybody a little bit of a pat on the head at half-time and move on into, hopefully, more goals. Dinamarco is the most disappointing player on the pitch currently. I hope that's just because he's not had a lot to do and not because he's rubbish. That would make me very sad if my new £60 million defender... I mean, was he six? I don't... He might not have been quite that much. I've got a horrible feeling he's the most expensive defender we've ever signed. And we've signed some expensive defenders. But Delgado is in for his second of the game, our third. 3-0 now. And that is Delgado back. He was a little bit quiet in the Community Shield at the end of the transfer window. Had a bit of a poor game. I think he came in with a 6.3. And I was certainly a little bit worried. But clearly he was just saving it for competitive football to start. And 2 goals today. We're probably going to take him off while he's on a hat-trick here, which I hope that isn't going to upset him too much. Unless he scores here. One of the front 2 is going to be coming off because I want to bring the new boy on and have a look at him in Premier League football rather than judging him purely off of 20 minutes against Manchester City and a missed penalty. Leeds, I forgot who we were playing for a minute there. Leeds are in here and they have got themselves a goal back. And we did say yesterday we need to start keeping an eye on Hoyenhal, who is now, certainly as far as star rating is concerned, the weakest player at the club by miles. Most of the rest of the squad are 3.5 and 4-star players now. Hoyenhal, a 2.5-star player. And for context, Salinas, the young defender that we sold this summer, was sold without really being given a chance because he was a 2.5-star player and I knew I'd never use him. And our starting goalkeeper and one of our heroes falls into the same category. Now, so far, I'm happy to keep him in the team based on the fact that he overperforms that constantly. But we do need to keep an eye on him because that could stop. Tipple with the shot across goal. Delgado's there for the tap, and I think he's probably offside. Although one of these two was pretty close to playing him on. That being said, they might have been beyond the goalkeeper. So, shall we have a look? Should we let the referee decide? On this occasion, we'll let the referee decide. He has disallowed it, and that would have been the hat-trick for Delgado. But, I mean, everything I said was a lie, and it was just clearly offside, and none of the other stuff had any impact on it. Right, Bindy's going to come off. We're going to bring Yedro on. Start getting some Premier League football into him. Let's not make the same mistake with him that we made with some of these other young players, although to be fair, at 22, he already can't become homegrown, but we can at least try and get some games into him. And then Max Aarons. I forgot we had Max. I mean, really, I should bring Romero on. We might do both. We're going to bring Max Aarons on to re-debut in a Norwich shirt. 10 years after he left for £30 million to go and sign for Leicester. He is back in a Norwich shirt in the Premier League at 34 years old, hoping that he gets himself a Premier League winners medal. He thought he was leaving for bigger and better things. But then while he's been away, we've gone on to become one of the best teams in Europe. And because I'm nice, I've said, you know what, Max, come on. You can come back and get involved. You can finish your career off where it all began and get back in a Norwich shirt. Alvarez left 2 years ago. Fernandez has just grabbed our fourth, and he is slowly but surely developing into a real top-tier centre-back. I know when we bought him in, it was with a view to him sometimes playing out at right-back, but he is, I would say, comfortably clear as our best centre-back at this point and demonstrating it again there. I think he's 6'3" as well, so good at using his noggin, as he just showed just there. Right, 4-1 on the first day. I think what I'm going to do now, in a slight break from advertised football, we're going to show the Manchester City game, because obviously they're our big rivals. So it does involve finishing off the transfer window, but I'll play Tottenham off camera and then we'll play City in the second half of the episode. That means we should also get a Champions League draw today as well. So we're mixing things up a bit, doing things a little differently. Why not? Nice, comfortable victory over Tottenham, and we have our Champions League group: Leipzig, Standard, and Atletico. Still not the easiest group we could possibly have, but I'd like to think we should be able to get past what is effectively the third best team in Germany and Spain, plus Standard Belgium. Yes, we should be top of that group. I would like to think we should be top of that group. We'll have the one of the early games coming up in tomorrow's episodes as well, so you can see how we're doing. But here's the real yardstick of how the season is looking. Manchester City at home. They have been the team that have pushed us hardest the last couple of years. They were the dominant team in England for most of the previous 15 years before we took over from them. So they're the favourites for the Premier League. We're expected to finish fourth. And they beat us in the Community Shield, albeit on penalties, but they did look like a very good side. We are starting to accumulate some injuries. Sandro Tonali, the latest one to pick up a knock. Romero has joined the injury list. Navarro's on the injury list. Sione also on the injury list. So we are, although the squad is a little bigger now, I think it's like one person bigger than it was last year, we are still getting down to not very much left because of injuries. But the team for this game, we're going with Hoy and Hal in goal, a back four of Eranua, Mura, Fernandez and Paviot. Tipple playing at the base of the midfield. I don't think you've seen him play there before. He played there quite a lot last season in the in-betweeny games that didn't really matter so much when we were trying him out, but we're kind of forced into playing him there today with the injuries to Tonali and Navarro. And the only other option realistically would be Padron, and he is not ready to be starting against Manchester City. So Tipple at the base of the midfield, Shepherd and Bindi ahead of him, and then Schultz behind Pedro Luis and Delgado up front. This is a big, big game for Etienne Tipple because we've obviously spent a lot of money this summer bringing Bindi into the club, who is a very attack-minded central midfielder, as is Shepherd, as is Janusek. So we've got some very attacking options in there. And Tipple will be looking at the defensive midfield spot, seeing that Tonali's 34 and only in on a one-year contract, and Navarro has kind of been written off because of the signing of Tonali. And Tipple will probably be thinking that as this season goes on, his best shot of securing a nailed-on starting position is in this role. He's a good defensive-minded player. He was a left-back when we signed him, and then he kind of became a midfielder. And this might be his final evolution form, sat there at the base of the diamond, just controlling the match. Or he could be absolute rubbish. This is the first time he's done it against anyone any good. So I guess we'll find out today. City are 1-0 up. It's a breakaway goal. We seem to have an awful lot of space between and Mura there. We'll just have a little look at it on the replay. It seemed all too easy for them to break through. So Eranur's beaten there. And Mura, I'm not even sure where he is. If that's Mura, that can't be Mura. That's Fernandez coming across. So where's Mura? Mura was way, way ahead of the play. Considering he's the guy on the covering instruction, I'm not entirely sure, unless he was the guy beaten on the halfway line rather than Eranua. And if that's the case, where on earth was Eranua? Tipple now with the free kick, floating it into the area. There's no Norwich player there to get a connection onto it, and it's Eranua down the left-hand side trying to play Shepherd in. But unfortunately, City have the ball off us again. That's good work from Lewis Shepherd, justifying his enormous price tag again. Pedro Luis back to Tipple. It's weird seeing Tipple hanging back in a situation like that. And what a goal from Colin Schultz. Listing all these attacking midfielders we've got, I forgot we had the best of all in the shape of Colin Schultz, who's just nailed on in this position for the rest of time because he's just too good. This is sensational from Schultz. And, I mean, just 1-1. We're very evenly matched for this Manchester City team. And I look at them and think, you've still got these old men that need to retire. But there's far fewer of these old men in their team now than there were 2 years ago. They've done a much better job than the AI normally does of starting to bring younger players through. They've obviously still got Rice in there and Mbappe, Adeyemi. They did have Bellingham. Bellingham's down on the bench now, so he's apparently being phased out. But they had probably there was a point when it was like an FM22 Wonder Kids 11 at Manchester City 4 or 5 years ago. and they've done a very good job of replacing it with Nugent. That is brilliant from Shepherd, and he just tried to get a little too fancy. He's effectively rounded the goalkeeper there. You just have to drill it into that far corner. No reason to round the keeper and then try and chip him. And trying to score a wonder goal against his former club has cost him there. And Tipple might be answering the question we were asking before things started off, because a second yellow card leads to him getting sent off. And we might have to think again about a long-term future for him playing in that role if he can't do it for more than an hour without picking up a red card. Bellingham has now come on for Declan Rice for Manchester City. And we've got to get through the final 25 minutes of this game down to 10 men. And also kind of thinking in terms of we wanted to win the game. I guess the plan changes slightly when we lose a player the way we have. But we came into this not expecting a win, but looking for a win for sure. Hoyenhal, I think, did he tip that over? He didn't. It's gone for a goal kick. Hoyenhal flapping at it a little bit there, but luckily the ball goes high over the crossbar. And we have a semi-fit Sandro Tonali. A bruised ankle. I think we play him. I think we bring him on. He can come on for Shepherd. We're going to stick him in there. And Schultz can come back. In fact, playing Schultz in central midfield is a bad idea. We're going to bring Janusek on to play there. And shuffle one more time. So Schultz can go up front and play, basically carry on playing the same role he plays, just starting from slightly further forward. And we're just going to try and be a little bit more defensively sensible against a very good Manchester City side. We'll offer some encouragement as well. We want the boys to know we're still looking to win the game, but I think that's probably a more sensible 10-man shape than the one that we had initially. Right, final substitution. Who have we got down there who's a game? We've got a lot of defenders and Cassolari. I think, there you go. It's an opportunity for Cassolari once again. You know, he knows his role in situations like this. He comes on and he scores the winner. That's what he does. He's not got very long to do it, but here is a corner and Cassolari will be lurking. Janusek looking at the far post, looking for Mura, but can't find him. And unfortunately, it is cleared. I think it's our throw, so hopefully this highlight's going to continue. It is going to continue with the throw. Paviot, who's playing it back. I mean, it's a weird throw to Tonali, but Paviot's got it back again. There is Cassolari. I thought he was going to do it again. It's getting absurd at this point. Cross into Cassolari, and again, he's causing havoc in there. He's just a different kind of striker. They've not had to deal with the Cassolari-style man yet today, and they're struggling a little bit with him as they're pushing on to try and win the game as well. Still 4 minutes left. Mounier shoots from miles out. And is that it? I can't believe that's going to be it with time still left in the game. 2 minutes left. Hoyenhal with the goal kick. It's Fernandez. Let's not have a crazy mistake from any of these guys now. Let's get the ball forward. There we go. It's not found a Norwich player, and City are going to come at us again. But Cassolari is there to intercept. What a man he is. He's our centre forward, getting back and covering at left back. I love him. And we've given away a penalty. I said don't do anything stupid. It's a red card and a penalty that's done us in against Manchester City. This is not this wasn't the plan for today. But unless we get some final heroics from Hoyenhal, we are handing Manchester City an early advantage in this season's transfer race. It's Mbappe versus Hoyenhal, two of the greats of the last 10 years of English football. And unfortunately, on this occasion, we have to concede Mbappe has got the better of Hoyenhal, who's rolling his shoulder as if to say, oh, if I'd have been fully fit, I'd have saved that. Achy shoulder. Don't want to see his stupid penalty from another angle. Pretty disappointed with that. We finished 12 points clear of them last year, and now we've handed them the advantage back. As I've got to say, their team has been strengthened better than ours over the last 18 months or so. And it showed there. Back in the Champions League tomorrow, and that's the one we really want to win this season. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.